This is my Undaunted Stalingrad insert. It finishes the set that I've built for all Undaunted games. One system, every front, just like the game. Everything is designed in one shared language with small intentional variations to support each game's unique mechanics. Stalingrad was the most demanding because it is an evolving campaign game. The game reflects the outcome of previous games in unexpected ways. Let's walk through the reboxing of Stalingrad while I explain how this insert supports a game that changes over time without spoiling the experience as much as possible. What you're seeing here is a partially progressed campaign with a map from the first encounter, with a few units from later on, so you'll see some upgraded units, damaged units, and some losses already incurred. I won't show you any of the surprise or other special cards. Let's start with a squad trace because they are at the heart of the game. This is the B squad tray. Each squad has a dedicated labeled tray, just like my Undaunted inserts. A squad stores scouts, riflemen, gunners, and their associated cards. Here's some machine gunners. Here are the riflemen. Here are the scouts. Upgraded units are easy to identify. And you will see alternate artwork. There's an upgraded unit with special abilities. And you'll see alternate art for reservists with reduced capabilities. This adds a really interesting tactical layer. You're not just tracking who's alive, but how effective they are. Each tray works the same way. Cards stack cleanly, tokens stay with their squad, and everything is clearly labeled, so setup and teardown is effortless. This is the A squad, this is the B squad. They stack together nicely. Stalingrad introduces a lot of new tokens, and each faction has their own scouting and control tokens. Each side gets its own color-matched trays. A muted blue-gray tray for the Germans and a dark matte red for the Soviets. These trays are designed to work on the table during play and stack neatly in the box in between sessions. No loose bags, no mixed piles. New to Stalingrad are routed and multi-purpose mission markers. These come into play during setup and again dynamically during gameplay. They have their own trays, just like the objective markers do. You could leave these trays on the table or return them to the box. Everything stacks cleanly either way. I'm going to keep this spoiler-free, but this insert fully supports these new mechanics without requiring you to reorganize anything mid-campaign or mid-battle. There's a dedicated KIA tray for casualties removed from the campaign. It's intentionally oversized because you will lose soldiers in Stalingrad. All of these trays are designed so that card art remains visible. The current state of the game and the campaign is easy to read at a glance, and locked or future content stays contained and clearly organized. Nothing is destroyed or altered permanently, but the game does respond to outcomes, and this insert reflects that. As an additional units unlock, snipers, engineers, and tanks, and other specialists, they come with their own cards and tokens, including Overwatch markers, smoke, mines. Note that the Germans and Soviets get different allocations of tokens, so each tray is slightly different. Structurally, everything works the same. That consistency is deliberate. So once you understand one side, the other is immediately familiar. Once you understand one of my Undaunted inserts, you understand all of them. There's intentional flexibility here too, because you don't know exactly which units will appear when. The insert provides optionality without feeling complicated or overwhelming. There are 3 decks that are unique to Stalingrad for each side. The reserve deck contains units that replace units that get killed in action. The locked deck contains units and tokens that become available to you as you fight. There are the aforementioned tanks. The upgrade deck contains replacement cards for soldiers promoted as a result of battlefield experience. Soviet upgrade. One of my favorite elements here is the city of Stalingrad itself. The terrain tiles are organized by 100 block, 200 block, 300 block, and so on. This makes setup and teardown dramatically faster. You always know exactly where to find and put a tile. There's also a separate tray for replacement city tiles used when buildings are destroyed or altered. Here's the 100s, the 200s are in here. Used to replace tiles in your Stalingrad city. These tiles can live in the box or on the table, where I think the brick textured aesthetic adds to the Stalingrad experience. I'm going to do a quick speed reboxing now. As I do, I'm going to show you how the interior of the box layout mirrors the game and the battle for Stalingrad itself. First, we're going to stack all of our units on each side that we have out. We've got them all stacked nicely. And next, I'm going to clear the map. So the 600s go on the 600 grid. 4, 5, 600. And then we're going to put this aside. We're going to put the 500s in. Put them in the 500 tray. The 400s can go on the 400 tray. The 300s can go in the 300 slot on the city tray. The nice thing about this is they're all nicely divided with no wasted space. Whoops, we missed an objective token. Let's get that back in our objective token pile. Token. And there's our 100s. All right, so let's recap. We've cleared the map. The terrain tiles go back in the city tray. 100s, 200s, 300s, and so on. Dice on the top. We have tunnel cards, tunnel tokens. We have our initiative token and our escape markers. Now, let's grab the box and load everything in. The Soviets are stored in the east. The Germans to the west, with the city of Stalingrad in the center. When you open the box, the conflict is already laid out. This is what we are fighting over. That spatial orientation is intentional. It reinforces the theme of the game, makes setup faster, helps the box feel like an extension of the experience rather than just a container. West, east, center. Okay, Andrew from the future here. We're going to interrupt this video and get rid of that whole long waffle about how I couldn't figure out how to get vertical support to work, because that's how this Undaunted just had to be different, because that's how all Undaunteds are. They're different in some way, blah, 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 blah. Y'all said it had to be. Feedback is the lifeblood of creativity, and I came up with an answer. It's got one trick. Once you know it, it's easy to do. The box is laid out the same way, with the Nazis on the west and the Soviets on the east. Might as well be thematic, stick with it. I'm going to go ahead and take out the entire stack that changed, just so you can see the difference. So you've seen these before, previous part of the video. I'm not going to re-edit all of it. What I did was I made the locked tray and reserve tray 2 trays. What this lets you do is this lets you sleeve these cards as you use them. There's plenty of extra room in the tray, but not sleeve them before you've used them, because it, after all, says do not open until instructed. And yet the tokens that are associated with those cards, tanks, because we have to have tanks, stay with the tray. Simple, so simple. There you go. The problem before was those tokens were flying all around the box, and that just wasn't viable. It's driving me crazy. There's one other trick here before I put everything back. The city tray. The city tray is big and heavy, and it's tall on this side and short on that side. So we want the large flat part to be on the bottom of the box. So when we're going to stand this up vertically, this is the bottom. We don't want this side to be the bottom, because then what will happen is these tiles will kind of wobble around, and I don't want you to get your tiles banged up. So just remember which side you put this on, and then just make sure you put that on the bottom when you stack it up vertically. Okay, and this all goes back in here. There's an extra few trays, but I think the compromise and combination of this is worth it. Everything fits nicely in here. Everything is still nice and snug. Soviets have exactly the same tray design as the Nazis. So nice and easy to remember how to do this. We put this over across the top. We're going to spread these Undaunted books over the top so that everybody gets maximum coverage. And if we remember, we've got the Germans on the west and the Russians in the east. And because we put the tall side on this side, this is the side that's the bottom. Yep. And there we go. Vertical storage. Who knew it could be so simple? I'm sorry it took me 4 months. And back to the previously scheduled video. Let's talk about sleeves. This insert has been tested with Ultra Pro Premium sleeves, which are 100 micron, and Sleeve King's 7711 Perfect Fit sleeves, 60 micron, which is what you're seeing here, and 8810s, which are the same size as the Ultra Pros. There's plenty of tolerance, so other sleeve brands and makes and models will work well. You can find digital files for this insert on Cults 3D, physical and digital versions on Etsy. If this was helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps support future designs and videos. And if you have questions, feedback, or ideas for future inserts, please let me know. Thank you for watching.